Here on the FM Scout channel, we often get asked the question, what is the best tactic to use in FM23? Now, there's no straight and obvious answer for this question. There's different tactics that work well for different teams, but we thought with Football Manager 23 coming towards the end of its life cycle, why not try and do our best to answer that question? To do so, I've headed over to the Knap tactic table on the FM Scout website, and I filtered for the tactics that had the most points from testing, but also worked on this engine, and I chose the 3 that you can see on screen right now. Knap obviously makes great tactics that we test very often on the channel, but I figured if we tested these 3 tactics with a variety of size, we could really get to the bottom of which one was actually the best, and at the same time give you guys 3 different tactics to potentially try. Now, we're going to be using a range of teams in testing. The first one will be Manchester City, our elite team. Don't worry though, we won't just test with the top clubs, we'll also be working with teams predicted for relegation like Southampton. We've taken a mid-table championship club in Coventry to see how the tactics get on with a team maybe with a little less quality. And we've also headed down to non-league, to Dorking. They're predicted to be in a relegation battle, but how well will they do with our tactics? So there's our 4 sides. We've got 3 tactics to test with all 3 of these teams. We're going to cover the results and also the details of each tactic in this video. I'll try not to stretch it out too long, but hopefully it'll be a fun test to see which one does the best. If you do enjoy the video, smash that like button for us, subscribe for more if you want to see more of this kind of content where we battle tactics against each other, and if you want to check out my own channel, you can find that linked in the description below. But let's start with tactic test 1. As mentioned, these are all going to be Knap tactics, and all of these will be in the description for you to click a button and download straight into your game, but I'll break the tactics down anyway for you. In the description, they'll be listed in order of what we show in the video. Tactic 1, Tactic 2, and Tactic 3. The first one that we're looking at is a very interesting shape where we don't actually have an out-and-out striker. You might have seen some of these tactics covered on the channel before, by the way, or similar tactics, but this is the first time we're testing all 3 of these. So it's a sweeper keeper on the support duty, a wing-back on the support duty, with the additional instructions that you can see on screen. I won't read them all out. Anything with a minus sign next to it is one you'll have to put on yourself. 2 ball-playing defenders on the defence duty, a defensive midfielder on that support duty, a winger on the attack, another winger on the attack duty, 2 attacking midfielders with the attack duty, 1 set to tackle harder, and a shadow striker. It's got an attacking mentality, looking to play a high-tempo style of football. All the other details of this tactic you can see on screen. In transition, we are looking to counter-press when possession has been lost and counter once we win that ball. And out of possession, it's a much higher defensive line and a high-press line of engagement. Now, all 3 of these tactics are a similar style of play, so you'll see a lot of those instructions repeated, but this is tactic 1, and let's see how we got on with that. And it was 2 trophies for our Man City team. All of these tactics were described on the website as sub-top tactics, aka these are teams meant for the likes of Spurs, maybe Newcastle, who are trying to break in to those top spots. Realistically, using this kind of tactic with a team like City is reducing your strengths massively, not playing someone like Haaland. But we won the Carabao Cup, we finished top of the Premier League. Even though we did lose 4 games, it was still a pretty impressive run, with Foden getting the most goals on our teams with 23 goals and plenty of assists too. And I'll also cover Southampton, who you can see finished in 12th place, not the best season at all, lost more matches than they won. Still a season where they've done better than you would expect, finishing in that 12th place spot, and also a runner-up in the Carabao Cup, but it wasn't to be. We're miles away from relegation, about 10 points away from any kind of European place. Not the worst season in the world, but also nothing to get crazy excited about. It's a good performance for Southampton, but that's probably where you draw the line. James Ward-Prowse, by the way, scored 24 goals in all competitions with this tactic, and credit to Joe Aribo too, who scored 19 times in that shadow striker role. Coventry had arguably our best performance with 104 points, performing way above expectation and getting the automatic promotion spot. If it wasn't for a crazy season from Norwich, we would have absolutely smashed the league table and taken it by storm. It would take too long if I break down every individual in-depth statistic with every team and every tactic, but I'll show one of these data hub screens for every tactic. This is with Coventry, and you can see we're having an unbelievable shots per game, 5 more on average than the other teams in the championship, and we're scoring plenty of goals as well. Star of the show in this tactic was this man, the Irishman, Sean Maguire. I imagine he had dropped into that shadow striker role and scored us plenty of goals this year, 26 in 40 championship appearances. And if you're worried whether this tactic will only work for the top teams, certainly not. Dorking. They're a team obviously with non-league caliber players, and we were told to battle relegation bravely as our objective for the season. Instead, we finished 5th, nearly got promoted in the playoffs, got 83 points, and won 25 matches in the season, with some incredible statistics too. If it wasn't for Notts County, we would have smashed everyone else in terms of goals scored. And we even got 22 goals out of bang average players like James McShane. No offence, James McShane, but you wouldn't expect him to do so well with these kind of attributes. So there's tactic 1, that's how our first test has gone. Now let's break down tactic 2 and 3 to see where this ranks before we crown an overall winner. Some good results there, some okay results. I definitely think it helps teams overperform, but whether it really allows those top teams to flourish is another question. Bear in mind as we check out these tactics that I didn't pick teams that specifically suit them, so if you had a squad that really suited one of these tactics, you get far better results, I'm sure, than what we're seeing. But this one definitely suits a team with less number 10 options and more striking options. If you've got a few strikers in your team, check this one out. This 4-3-3 shape is deadly in-game with 3 strikers, 2 Mazzalas on the attack duty. We're looking to score a lot of goals, and I'll break down all of the roles for you here. Remember, any additional instructions will be in this tab right now. We've got 2 wing-backs on the support duty, as you can see there, 2 ball-playing defenders, with the following instructions: a deep-line playmaker, those 2 Mazzalas as mentioned, and 3 advanced forwards, all being asked to do the same thing. Now we've got a balanced mentality with the tactic, really high tempo again, looking to pass into the space and run at the opposition's defence. In transition, we are looking to counter-press and counter. It is the meta in this year's Football Manager game. And then out of possession, we're looking for a more standard defensive line, but still that high press line of engagement. And for Man City, it was another very strong showing, winning the league yet again with more points than we saw in that other simulation. 6 losses in there, including some pretty heavy losses. It looks like when we're going away to the big teams, they've got us sussed out, but in most games, we are absolutely thumping opponents. 5-0s, 3-0s there that I can see. A 3-0 away win against Chelsea too. 1 draw all season, and we're 9 points ahead of any of our competitors in the league. Haaland has absolutely smashed it, as you would expect, with 35 goals in 36 games, but it's when we look at Southampton that this tactic gets really interesting. Let's take a look at them. We can see they have finished 6th in a Europa League spot, higher than the likes of Chelsea, Brighton, amongst many others. We got 63 points, which gave us that Europa League spot, joint with Leicester in 7th, actually not too far off a 5th place spot and overtaken Arsenal. 19 wins with this Southampton team is very impressive. Orsic was the 2nd top goal scorer in the league. The 30-year-old was playing up front in our system, and he managed to bag 25 goals in 33 games. One of the best players of the season. Incredible results from him. That advanced forward role, if you've got someone who's quick and can get him behind, they are going to be awesome for you. Imagine if you've got 3 of them as well, you are going to score countless goals, and that's really where this tactic shines. If we go to team overview, you can see Southampton scored some of the most in the league with 71, but Man City scored so many more than their closest challengers. Liverpool, we've had the most shots out of pretty much anyone with City. Southampton, not as many. Obviously, defensively, this tactic isn't the world's best. As you saw, there was only 1 player in the midfield on anything other than an attack duty, but we still managed to be pretty solid defensively with Southampton. Only 56 conceded, which isn't too bad for where Southampton are expected to be, and City conceded more than you might expect, but still not the worst result in the world when we're scoring so many. Coventry got promoted through the playoffs. They finished on 84 points, not as many as our other tactics, so maybe with lower down teams this tactic isn't as special, but if we go to the playoff final, we did beat Burnley 6-2, so clearly this tactic is just going to try and score as many goals as possible. Coventry maybe didn't have the strikers to suit this. I know they've got Victor Gyökeres, who is absolutely amazing, but outside of him, do they have that many great strikers? Personally, I don't really know. We'll find out in a second. They did pick up 84 points with one of the best sides in the league, and as you can see, it's a similar case in the data hub. 17 shots per game, way more than the average of any other team in the championship, scoring more goals than most too. Here you go, here are our other strikers. Fabio Tavares, who, I mean, he looks half decent, but he's not amazing. He managed to pick up 23 goals. Gyökeres got like 15, and the guy with the most was actually this man, Matt Godden, who is a good striker by the looks of it. He bagged plenty this year, 21 in the league alone, and in all competitions, we're looking at 24 goals for him. A great performance, a bunch of different goal scorers throughout the whole team. And we nearly got promoted with Dorking, losing in the playoffs. Again, it's helped an underdog side like Dorking get so high up in the league, and actually, we have done so well. 91 points, really unfortunate not to go up. If you don't know, there's only 1 automatic promotion space from the Vanarama National League. But we really got screwed over here, finishing on 91 points, eventually losing to Bromley in the playoff final 4-3. Obviously, if you're going into a game like that, maybe you'd want to adjust the tactic a a little bit to be less aggressive, but it certainly helped our underdog Dorking side perform to the highest of levels. 28 goals for this man. Fair play to him up front. We also had James McShane once again scoring plenty of goals. Check him out if you're in non-league, he seems to be pretty talented. And Alfie Rutherford as well, one of our best players, 24-year-old English striker, went out and scored 20 goals in 45 league appearances and 25 goals in all comps. Another pretty impressive display from this tactic. The Dorking result was much better this time, Coventry not so much, but City and Southampton performing way better. So I think in most cases, if you have got a team that suits having a few more strikers on the pitch, this tactic could be the one for you, but we've got one more to test yet. And finally, it's this tactic, a 4-3-1-2 style formation. This overpowered tactic incorporates a number 10 or a shallow striker in this case behind two advanced forwards this time, with a similar style midfield to what we just saw. All of these tactics are called Wheel of Fire tactics. If you don't know, Knap categorises his tactics based on the style. So all of these ones that have done really well on our tactic testing table happen to all be of a similar style, which might tell you a lot about what works in this year's FM. So maybe you can take ideas from these tactics to make your own. But this tactic has a sweeper keeper. We've then got two wing backs on support as follows: two ball playing defenders, a deep line playmaker, two mezzalas, a shadow striker, and two advanced forwards up top. Now what I want you guys to do after we've shown this is to let me know in the comments what your favourite tactic has been. Feel free to let us know where you found it and we can test them to find what the best one is before the end of FM23. Now this tactic doesn't look like it was the best for Man City, didn't get the best out of them. Why that is, who's to really say? But they only got 84 points here. You'd think with two great strikers like Haaland and Alvarez we would do a lot better, but Man U actually got the title. Despite our way better goal difference, we did lose by 4 points, drawing 6 games and losing 6. Not as many heavy losses as last time, but still not what you expect from Man City. Southampton though are the story of this one, once again getting a 6th place finish. This time it's a Conference League spot, 65 points and only 4 points away from getting a Champions League place. Orsic, once again the star of the show, he was playing up front and scored 30 goals in all competitions, while Shea Adam put 15 in for us. The tactic's got a balanced mentality. This is what we're looking to do in possession. Again, very high tempo. It's called Wheels of Fire after all. In transition, again, we are countering as often as possible pretty much. And out of possession, it's a similar set of lines to what we had on the previous tactic. Again, these tactics are aimed towards taking lots of shots and scoring lots of goals, and this one did exactly that with all of our teams. If you're looking for a more defensive tactic, you can find all that on the tactic table that I mentioned earlier. You can filter on goals conceded, amount of points won, the style of teams that they're for. You can find underdog tactics, you can find elite tactics and sub-top tactics, tactics for every club really. And again, it was a great year for our Coventry side who got to the 5th round of the FA Cup, the 4th round of the Carabao, losing only to Premier League teams, whilst also only losing 7 in 46 championship matches, getting 95 points. Again, Norwich have blew the whole table away, but outside of them, we were very good, with Gyökeres scoring plenty and Matt Godden once again being an elite level player for us, 32 goals and raising his transfer valuation to £11 million here. And as much as we've brought success to Dorking across these 3 tactic simulations, I do feel bad that they never got promoted, and once again we finish on a really high points total for a team expected to be down here where Scunthorpe are. Instead we finished in 3rd on 89 points, 2 points away from 2nd place Wrexham, and Notts County are just far better than anyone in this division. We've seen that in every tactic test we do with non-league. Notts County near enough always win it. We lost to Yeovil on the final playoff match, fair play to them, finishing 6th and getting promoted. Ryan Seeger has got 29 goals for us this year and was very impressive, and we've actually outscored Notts County this time with 104 goals, showing just how good this tactic is in the attack. On the defence, it's not one of the best. In terms of the amount of goals conceded, we're about mid-table in that stat, but as far as goal scoring goes, we are by far the best team there, taking countless shots, 842. That is far more, over 100 more than 2nd place Wrexham. Unbelievable numbers and another great tactic. Now, if I was to crown a winner, I think it would have to go to tactic number 2. Obviously, this is so dependent on the kind of team that you are, the kind of players that you have available to you. Whether you're an elite team or a team expecting relegation, all of these tactics I'm sure work great, but you want to find the best one for you. Remember to check out the Knap tactic table linked in the description and let me know your favourite from what we showed today. Or if you have another one, let us know in the comments and we'll check it out in a future video. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.